morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg and our December 20th Sunday service. My name is Jack Donovan. I'm the pastor of the congregation. We are a congregation which seeks to promote spiritual growth and caring community. We are companions on life's journey, exploring life and the wisdom of all the world's wisdom traditions. Union St. Peter is a congregation for all souls and their fulfillment, all ages, genders, orientations, colors, abilities, educations, beliefs, questions, hopes. Did I leave you off the list? Let me know, and thank you for being with us. Blessings of this week and its holidays: Hanukkah, International Migrants' Day, and Yule Solstice. And thanks to Kelly and Harmony and John and James for contributing to today's service in word and song and production. And thanks to all of you who make us a blessed community.
Good morning, I am Harmony Berg.
And I'm Kelly DeGraw.
Good to be with you this morning. We light our chalice now as a symbol of our search for truth, our shared communion, and our growing light of understanding and caring. Joined, if you will, with the words of our covenant.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our invocation is adapted from Dory Summers' Solstice Joy. How short the daylight hours have now become. How gray the skies, how barren seems the trees. Damp and chilly winds may grip and strip our minds and make us gloomy too. But there is that in us which reaches up towards light and laughter, bells and carolers, and knows that our myths and dreams of reborn joy and goodness must be true, because they reflect life and the truths of older myths. Light returning to balanced darkness, life surging in the evergreen and in us, infants as hope and saviors of the world, as miracles abounding in common things. Rejoice, let us rejoice, and join in the gladness.
People look east, the time is near, of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able, trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today, love the guest is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today, love the star is on the way.
And now for children and families, I have a question, maybe for a family dinner conversation. In winter when I was a boy, I would walk with my sled 10 minutes through the snowy woods and join the neighborhood kids rocketing down what we called Dive Bomber Hill. Truth to tell, my brother and I were often the first ones there, breaking the new snow. We were supposed to eat breakfast at home before we went out for the day, but lots of times there wasn't time. The day had dawned and there was snow, fresh snow. So we put a few cornflakes and some milk in a bowl and stirred it around and left it for our parents to find, and out the door we went. Oh, to stand at the top of Dive Bomber Hill and look far down to the bottom where the run flattened out between the forest and the Smiths' rabbit cages and the Dolores chicken coop and that dead-end street's line of backyard gardens. And down the precipice of snow and ice toward them, we'd rocket. And we'd do it over and over again. A 1-minute ride and a 5-minute rush back up the hill and down again. Snow inside our boots, freezing our toes, icy water seeping through our gloves, our ski caps, who knows where they went. Then Buddy and Joey DeLore brought us into their house for hot chocolate, and then back to the hill. And then Reggie Smith's mom had cinnamon rolls, hot ones, and a fireplace. And then back to the hill. Dive Bomber Hill, and we were the dive bombers. Every snowy day, year after year, fingers frozen, toes frozen, nose frozen, till we cried, taking one last dive before dusk. Why did we keep doing it? Do you know? Would you keep doing it? Frozen toes, frozen nose. Let me ask, did your lips ever turn purple and your body shake from staying so long in the ocean at the beach or in a lake or in a pool? Come out shivering because your parents said you had to. Why did you stay in? Same reason we kept sledding? What could it be? That's my question. Now, joys and concerns. If anyone has a particular personal joy or concern to share today, please type it into the comment column on the right of your YouTube screen. And you may share again during coffee hour, of course, after the service. And you're also always welcome to let us know about personal joys or concerns that you would like shared at this time during the service. You can let me know, or Dave Mapp, or Susan Bernor of our worship committee, because these are hard times and they continue. Let us know anytime it seems a bit too much to carry alone. And keep remembering and reaching out to one another, because sometimes it's too hard to reach out for yourself. Now, our offering for this morning.
To keep our congregation thriving, may we remember our connections to one another, and let us not forget our contributions to support the means to those connections. To make a contribution as you listen to our brief offertory music, please click on the I donation button in the upper right corner of your screen. You can refresh the donation button anytime by hovering your cursor over the upper right corner of the screen if you're on a computer or mobile device. You can also donate at uustpete.org under the Giving tab, or by sending a check to the church office. Many thanks.
We have 2 readings this morning. Our first is Greenery by poet Margaret Starkey. With mountains of greenery, the brightest ornaments, we bring high summer to our rooms, as if to spite the somberness of winter come. In time of want, when life is bounding up against the next uncertain spring, we celebrate and give what we have away. All creatures bend to rules, even the stars constricted. There is a blessed madness in the human need to go against the grain of cold and scarcity. We make a holiday, the rituals varied as the hopes of humanity, the reasons as obscure as ancient solar festivals, as clear as joy on one small face.
On the day we are together again, on the day we are together again, I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again, we will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I will pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we eat at the same table again.
We will walk round the block hand in hand. We will walk round the block hand in hand. We will stop for a snack at the taco truck stand. We will walk round the block hand in hand.
Someday we will go back to work. Someday we will go back to work. May we be among people who respect our worth. Someday we will go back to work.
I will help the strangers I meet. I will help the strangers I meet. It is possible
To get back on our feet,
I will help the strangers I meet.
I will write you a letter.
I will write you a letter.
I will write you a letter for now.
Hope is a message that survives somehow.
I will write you a letter for to the healers who keep us alive. To the healers who keep us alive. Oh, I toast to your courage, to your knowledge and light. To the healers who keep us alive.
Reading is from English artist and visionary William Blake. Joy and Woe. Joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. It is right, it should be so. We were made for joy and woe. And when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go.
Thank you, Kelly. Joy and woe, rightly know, safely go. Anytime I say I miss snowstorms and sledding and cross-country skiing, my Florida habituated wife calls me delusional. Or reminiscing about cutting home through the old hill burial ground on the snow-crusted path, and despite freezing fingers and toes, stopping in the silent night to gaze down over the little town, all lit up for Christmas. Again, my beach bunny wife says, delusional, woefully. Woe, the fading light in northern climes augurs isolation, cold, and hunger. Existential threats to all souls and all they care about. Cold and dark bring woe. And yet in them we celebrate holidays of myths and gifts and sprays of greenery and sprays of light. And we wonder merrily before a drafty hearth, are we made for joy and woe? Fire in the cold and dark. We bring it to life, and it gives back light, warmth, vision, trust, companionship, reverie, revelry, joy. If we had no sense of joy, we would not bother to strike the match, much less the harp, to bring light and warmth into the world. We would not strive to flourish. We would not survive the winter except by nature's whims. Fire in homes. If mishandled, it takes our possessions, communities, and beings. If we had no sense of woe, we would not be careful handling fire. We would do careless things. Consider why no families still put lighted candles on Christmas trees. And these days, consider the California drought fires, perhaps, sparked by incautious stringing of the power of light. Woe brings change. If we are made for joy and woe, then what made us so? Natural selection has evolved joy and woe as guides for our senses. From the beginning of life, repulsion to the harmful and attraction to the beneficial have evolved to optimize surviving and thriving against predators, disease, and chaos. It must be so. It is so. Learn to know rightly if you are to go safely. Ignore going rightly, and life is brutal and nasty and short. What is it that needs to survive and wants to thrive? The poet calls it the soul divine. The seed of being, the divided cell, or dividing cell, I should say, the conjoined zygote, the creative energy matter of the universe, expressed from the source of all, vibration made flesh, the soul. a quantum of existence, with universal powers to develop what we call the human spirit. In the poet's metaphor, the human spirit is the clothing woven by the soul for self-protection and guidance. It nets our experiences, then turns toward future joy and safety, toward surviving and thriving. It asks the germinal soul, do you see what I see? It is fallible, this cloth of human spirit, but it can be educated, can draw power from its source, can grow. To encourage that growth is perhaps why the poet embedded his poem in prophecies. A robin redbreast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. A dog starved at its master's gate predicts the ruin of the state. 55 such couplets, I think, given to help us minimize our strands of woe and maximize our strands of joy and optimize our being's fulfillment. What is the fabric of this spirit cloth, besides being woven from the soul's responses to threat and gifts? The poet says that for every twine of grieving and pining, there is a joy of silken twine. Lovely, lovely, but that accounting may be too optimistic. These days, scientific investigators of psyche, soul, and spirit find more likely that there are 4 threads of woe per thread of joy, neurological threads. That the weight of woe is 4 times joy's. The negative experience and understanding weigh 4 times more heavily on the mind than positive ones. If you break trust one time, it takes around 4 demonstrations of trustworthiness to win back trust. If you burn your finger once, it takes 4 times of acting cautiously before you trust yourself. Natural selection has always worked that way. Misidentify a lion's rustle in the bush for a tasty critter even once, and you become the tasty critter. It's 4 times better to suffer the pangs and harrows of digestive fluids than risk being lunch. It can seem that life, with its sometimes outrageous misfortunes, just knocks us around with woes. Why me? Simple enough. Woe tells me something is wrong. I want to go safely through the world, through the worldly wood, and collect its fruit and flowers. But where I run into woe, something is pitching me off track to where I'm not safe or right. That something may be as simple as inexperience, or more seriously, lack of reflection, or more surreptitiously, unaddressed wounds, or counterintuitively, lack of celebration, and lack of trying to raise joy for the world's small faces. All life's creatures prefer happy to hurt. We don't always do the math before we conclude where safety and joy await us next. But we can improve the odds by creating many fibers of joy and weaving them bountifully in case some fibers turn out to be woes. That would be a way of knowing rightly how to weave joy and woe? How do you intentionally create the joyous fibers and weave them in? Therapists and poets agree. Bravely, honestly, let your life march before you for inspection. Study the threads and patterns. Learn from whence your joys and woes came and whence they could come again. Meditate or pray or journal and find your finest strands. Find spiritual friends who will look with you at your joys and woes until you rightly see how best to weave so beautifully through the world you go. I believe we can conclude with our poet that our sense of woe is not knocking against us at all. It is knocking against the door of our consciousness to wake us to remembrances of joys past and to wake us to awareness of truths that signal the way to safely and rightly go. Our woes might even wake us to the reality that joy remains in the world for us, despite some woes, and that we ourselves can cultivate, harvest, and weave. I believe it is in our hands to work the fibers of silken twine, even in the winter. I don't think it's delusional. Weave on. Now, Harmony and Kelly and John and James with the closing of our service. Blessings, and hope to see you at our Zoom coffee hour.
Before we continue, we have a few announcements. If you'd like to learn more about our church, we hope you'll visit our website at uustpete.org. That's uustpete.org. Among other things, you'll find information there about signing up for our newsletter. Also, you're welcome to call or email Pastor Jack at any time. His contact information will show on the screen at the end of the service.
And now as our service ends, with a breath we pass the flame of our chalice lamp to each other as we say our closing words together.
We extinguish this flame,
but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Thank you.
What gift can we bring? What present, what token, what words can convey it, the joy of this day, when grateful we come, remembering, rejoicing, what song can we offer in honor and praise?